right, hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Practical Wealth Show. So today we're going to talk about leadership, okay, and being a leader, even in your own household, right?
Mhm.
And so I have Dwayne Roberts with me today of Leaders, not of it, but that's his program, Leaders Shift, and that's an acronym which we'll explain. And but we met. And I was just he did me the honor of interviewing me on his show. Um, but we met. Where did we meet? Miami
Mhm.
at David Shan's podcast conference. So we were. It turned out we had mutual people that we knew, and so it was hilarious. And
Yeah.
Dwayne, welcome to the Practical Wealth Show, and tell them what I didn't tell because I didn't do a good job.
No, Curtis, my friend, you did well, man. Thank you first for the invite. Being able to connect with you is phenomenal, guys. My name is Dwayne Roberts. If I can say anything, let me start with this first. I'm a man of faith, man. I believe putting God first in everything that I do, man. I'm married with 6 kids, and so I'm passionate about family. One of the things that was most important to me is being the best version of me.
Mm-hmm.
Today, man, I'm an influencer. I
Mm-hmm.
love influencing people. I'm an interactive person. I love to interact with people. I'm an inspirational speaker. Some people say I'm very motivating. I don't see myself as a motivator, but if you're motivated, well, all glory to the Most High, right?
Right.
But most important, man, I'm passionate about men. I'm passionate about empowering men to align their beliefs with confidence. I believe there's a lot of things in life that men want to accomplish, but they don't do it, right? And so it's my aim to help empower men to live life with purpose, unlock their true, authentic leadership style. I do it a number of ways, and one of my favorite ways is through podcasting. And so I host a phenomenal podcast called the Leadership Podcast. A little bit more back history on me, man. I hold a degree in biblical studies as well as organizational management in Christian leadership. I am a behavioral analysis specialist. I,
Okay.
I I try to break down behaviors, better understand why we do what we do, so we can get better results in life, man. So, Curtis, that's me in a nutshell, my friend.
Okay. And so let's talk about why men and let's dig into, what are the challenges. Let's talk about the challenges, maybe two or three challenges you see and why that we've got to help. Because I believe in that also. I think that, men, and I know you're specifically talking towards black men, need to kind of get their stuff. One time I did a show right after Kobe passed away. I did an event. This was the last event I did before COVID live, and it was kind of like get your S together. But that's
Mhm.
not the title. But it was like basically get your, he's 40 something, accomplished all this stuff. And it was cool because I had young guys there, like 18, 19. I had guys as old as 66 and anywhere in between. I had a couple people on the panel. But what happened, which was awesome, we started it, but then they were just talking back and forth amongst themselves. I mean, I didn't really have an agenda. I, but I wanted to get them talking, and it was like then COVID happened, so we kind of got out of rhythm. I didn't even know what to do with it, but it was a good conversation, and it seems like those conversations need to be had. So now I just spilled the beans, but tell me your your thoughts around that, and how can we help these guys out here?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's so many things that really hinder men from doing what's important to them. One may be just a limiting belief. What do you really believe about yourself? What do you really believe that you can accomplish? What's
Mhm.
some of your world views, right? And a lot of that is back history, what you've
Mhm.
been through from the past, and you've taken a lot of that baggage from your parents, your environment, and you've brought it into your modern day way of living. And so it can hinder progression. It can hinder the things that we want to do. Oftentimes, this is what I find: 97% of men don't have a vision for life. They don't know where they want to lead their life, right? And we just get up and we just go through the everyday motions of life without a true plan, without really charting the course for ourselves,
Right.
right? Um, and because of that, we live life aimlessly. You
Right.
know, uh, we talking practical wealth. We broke, we live in
They
paycheck
don't
to
have a
paycheck.
financial plan,
Yeah,
right? They don't
yeah,
have a, like they're Napoleon Hill would call them, they're drifters. They're drifting,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and without, you have to wake up and you have to be on purpose about something. Otherwise, you're like a ship without a rudder.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you know, getting hold of that vision for yourself, overcoming and limiting beliefs is where I think is most important. Society today will tell you, society will say to you that it's toxic masculinity. No, I don't believe in that. I think that's just an immature behavior that we have. We haven't learned how to develop ourselves, and it's no fault of our own. We just gravitate to what's comfortable in life. And because we gravitate to what's comfortable, doing things that's uncomfortable, guess what? That's not what I want to be doing.
Right.
That's not. So
Our natural tendency to take the easy path
yeah,
actually works against us, because success lies outside the comfort zone. So
absolutely.
you have to be uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I think the prerequisite to success is just that, getting to what's uncomfortable. I don't think anybody got to the next level in any area in life because they were comfortable. They got there because it was uncomfortable. It took you to do some things that you were challenged doing. Another thing that I think hinder many people is they just won't take action. You just won't do it. All day long I can talk to you. All day long we can talk about what you need to do. Matter of fact, what I hear often than not is most people share their dreams or they share what they want to do, but at the end of the day, when you ask them where they are now in that process or have you started the process, it's nah, but there's a reason behind why you haven't done what you've done. So those
Right.
are the three things I believe that hold people up is one, their limiting beliefs. Two, this immaturity about yourself, and taking charge of your life, and then lastly, just taking action on the things that's most important to you.
How can some things, I have some thoughts on that, because like, so in the last one, what not taking action. So Tony Robbins used to call it, back in his old program back in the day, called personal power, which is the ability to get yourself to take action, you know. And in the business world, and I'll talk to younger people that are getting into that, you have to be able to be, there's two types of people in the world, right? So there's work processors and there's work creators, right? And so if you're going to be or live in what I call the performance economy versus the hours for dollars get a paycheck every other Friday economy, you've got to have the personal power to get up and make stuff happen,
Absolutely.
and that's, so it's a lot. So you have to and that, you don't have to be born like that. You can work on it, but you
Absolutely.
have to work on it, you
Yeah.
know. And I think that a lot of people, we hold on to our past stuff, right? I was listening to a video. I'm a big fan of Myron Gold, and he says, he really, I got to get this right. So it's the first time I've said it out loud, so I have to make sure I don't screw it up. It's like there's determining factors and contributing factors, right? So he says that, yes, we were born into chattel slavery. That's a contributing factor, but it's not a determining factor, because there's still
Mm,
people. I have 3 books on my shelf of people that one is called what's it called? Black Fortunes, of people of first generation out of slavery were millionaires
mhm.
when during Jim Crow. If you read Dennis Kimbrough's Success Secrets of Black Millionaires, and see, so you have to, so they've determined that they would not be poor.
Yeah. Made up mind.
They made up their mind.
Yeah.
They had a direction, and they, there's things that goes with that. And, most of the time you're not going to be supported by friends and family. They're going to think you crazy. Oh, you better keep that good job. And you have to have and so if you're not working on where you can lead yourself, and you're not working on personal development, you don't you just stay where you're at. Like it's like crabs and umbrella. They want to pull you back down. You really have to work hard to fight against that.
Absolutely, you do, and you bring up a good point here. Of working hard to bring forth what's in your heart. Because I'll be honest, Curtis, I would before I got here, I was literally sitting on my back porch trying to figure life out.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Mm-hmm.
just separated the military, 15 years in, and I wanted to make my next move in life my best, but I didn't feel confident. I didn't know how to make that happen. Um, I felt like I let people down.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that there was more to do, but I didn't know how to make more happen. You
Right.
know, and in this place, I literally was listening to the tunes of Otis Redding, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the ships pass by, and he says, and then he wasting time watching ships pass by. It was in that moment for myself that I woke up. It was in
Mm-hmm.
that moment for myself that I became alive and realized that, hold on, life has more to offer. There's more than I can do. And that's where I got into place. And I ran in a house. I never forget this. And yeah, I never forget this. I ran in a house, I grabbed a pen and a paper, and I wrote 3 words down. And today, these 3 words literally are um, the framework of how I live my life. That one, vision,
Mm-hmm.
plan, execute. If you can't see in life where you want to go, and I said earlier, 97% of men don't have a vision. Where does that statistic come from? That's a statistic that was done by Wiley in organizational management, where they said that 3% of leaders actually form a vision for their organization, meaning that, and that was top tier leaders, meaning that the rest of the organization, 97% of everybody else, didn't have a vision for how they wanted to come into the organization or lead in the organization. And if we can't lead in the organization, how much more are we leading at home? How much
Right.
more are we painting a picture, a vision for life in our own life, man? And so I wrote those 3 words down: vision, plan, execute. And those were the changing factors in my life, because
Mm-hmm.
now I begin to realize that, you know what, this is what I want to do. Ironically, right? This is where this all stems from, right? After I wrote those 3 words down, I looked up, and in my house is a painting that's been in my house for over 20 years, man. And it's 3 men looking ahead. And the caption reads, Men of Vision. And this is what birth for me, the Metavision. You see it on my hat there.
Mm-hmm.
Metavision Colorado is my 501c3 nonprofit, where I work with formerly incarcerated men, where I work with those in recovery in personal development and leadership. And that's my way of giving back. That's my
Mm-hmm.
way of paying it forward, because it was that took me to get unlocked for myself, to start leading myself well. When we talk about leadership, let's be real. The first person in life you have to learn to lead is you.
Right.
The first person.
That's
It's a
right.
phenomenal book too, by the admiral. I can't remember his name, but he gave this speech. But in the book, he talks about the speech that he gave, where he says the first thing in the morning that you should do is make your bed. You know, lead yourself well. That's the first discipline of the day, man. And I think many men, or yeah, in general, because you don't have a vision for your life, because you haven't painted where you want to go, you don't have the discipline to do the little things in life to get the results that you truly want out of life.
Yeah. That's so powerful because you gotta. That's the thing. See, because sometimes like there's a path to prosperity. For example, my money center is a financial show, but there's poverty. And so even when you're like a kid, you're in poverty. You don't make your own money. You live with your parents. And then there's subsistence where you get a job, but now you still have to submit to an employer. You got to get up. You got to go to work. You got to, for young cats, you got to pull your pants up around your waist. Okay. And you can't be all tatted up. And now some of y'all already did that, but I wouldn't go crazy with that. If you haven't done it yet, that's not try to make a
Right.
lot of money unless you're a rapper or a ball player. But
Yeah.
the point is you gotta get up with direct. And see, the thing is, how big are goals in that, because you got to have something you want to do that will kind of pull you towards that. See, I find people
Yeah.
have a direction because it starts with what do you want and why.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts with the why, right?
Right.
The vision is kind of helps you find this lane of clarity.
Yeah.
When you write the vision and make it plain, it helps you identify the clarity where you want to go. This is the plan,
Right.
and oftentimes visions are broad, right?
Yeah.
But we have to break them down into smaller, manageable steps. What is this supposed to mean? Why am I having this? Why do I have the urge to make this happen?
Right.
You know, and then we formulate what I like to call a strategic plan.
Hmm.
You put one or two. Well, you take one or two or three major things that you want to accomplish,
Hmm.
and see how they align with where you believe you've been called to go or do in life.
Hmm.
And then you start with one of those steps, man, and you break that one step down even smaller. And you start processing. As you accomplish each step, you move to the next step in life. I think sometimes we get so bogged down in the dream or vision of how enormous it may seem to us, because the truth is it's very minute.
Right.
When you have a vision, you don't see the whole picture, you just get a glimpse. But to you, it's like, whoa, this is uh this is out of control. This is way too much. But no, it's a small glimpse of where I believe God wants to lead you. I believe it's what's in your heart to do, right? And taking that plan, breaking that plan down, and begin to take action on it. Take the first step. You know,
See, that's so critical. Sorry, you get me excited. Sorry to cut you off. It's like they have to, because they want the whole thing laid out and they procrastinate, right? And so you have to move in a direction, because a plane, when it takes off, is off course like 90% of the time. So you have to make constant adjustments. But one of the things that somebody taught me that I've always learned is that activity produces knowledge.
absolutely.
Knowledge does not produce activity. So
It-
you've got to begin moving in a
it's-
direction,
yeah,
and then you can course correct, because you're because you learn everything. You
yeah,
always have an outcome. You may not hit your numbers, but you have an outcome, and then just responding to the stimuli you're getting, the feedback is
yeah.
how you begin to. And people don't like feedback, but feedback is how you learn.
Feedback is how you learn it, and I think people don't like feedback is because people don't like to be told what to do. We
Right.
don't like to be
Or
told that
rejection.
yeah,
Right. Right.
rejection. I was about to go there next.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we don't want to be wrong, right? But I like what you said. It is a course creation correction. It's a navigation.
Yeah.
Think about it. Pilots, before they leave the airport, they chart the course. Cruise directors or cruise captains of a ship, before they leave the dock, they chart the course. How are we going to get from A to Z or A to B, whatever it is, and in your life, you're going to have to take those same steps in your own life to start charting the course, building that plan, but taking action. And I use this phenomenal little acronym when it comes to action, right? That's one, being accountable,
Mm-hmm.
taking, being committed. Realize that wherever you're going in life, it's going to take time to be intentional, to remain optimistic through it all, and never quit.
Mm-hmm.
Never quit on you, because the end state is it's never about you. Yes, you're gonna have to do the work. You're gonna have to put the time in. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, when you understand your why, the very essence of why I do the things I do today, it's
Mm-hmm.
for men. It's not for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's to empower men to get to this place of hope. It's to empower men to paint or chart the vision for their life. It's so men can take action on the things that's most important to them. Whether that's for your family, whether that's for your future, whether that's in your finances, you know, what is it that you that's important to you, that you want to make an impact? It can be for your community, far as I'm concerned,
Right.
but go out there and go get it, man. Go make that thing happen.
I think that, or is that it starts with, though, you got to lead yourself, because people want to change
Mhm.
the community, but you got to fix you first before you start.
Absolutely.
It starts here. Like, you've got to have, good morality. You have
Mm,
to have, you got to invest in yourself.
yeah,
Jim
yeah.
Rohn would say most people don't have a money problem, they have a philosophy problem, right?
Hmm.
And so what one of the things that I teach in that is what a real, because as this is always evolving with me, like really emphasizing when I work with people, what are their goals, right? Because if it's like Alice in Wonderland, where should I go? Well, where do you want to go? It doesn't much matter. Well, in any direction we'll go. So you gotta, we'll do right. Then you kind of have clear on what you want, and you start moving in that direction. And then you have benchmarks of, okay, how do I know if I'm winning? But it starts with like little stuff, like in my opinion, or what I kind of try to share is what are you reading? Right? Are you
Yeah,
reading 8 to 10 pages a day? Right? Because that's going to work on your philosophy, how you think, right? Your philosophy determines your actions, or your attitude. Your attitude determines your actions. So we're talking about getting yourself to take action, and your actions determine your results. And so what happens is, if your attitude is bad, it's the daily decisions that you make. This is what, when you talk to the people you're talking about, it's they were start out, it might have been a bad environment, but that was not the determining factor. That was a contributing factor, but it's you in the moment making daily decisions
absolutely. Yeah,
that if you keep, and then you just keep going on a trajectory downwards, because you got a bad attitude. Your bad attitudes are being reinforced about law, about this, about that, law enforcement, and then what happens is, whereas you have to, there's a choice, right? So I choose to be happy. I can choose to win. I can choose to, when I was
absolutely.
in high school and people were getting high and hanging out, no, I wanted to play college basketball. So I had a vision. Okay.
Yeah,
So if it didn't, I had to have certain grades. I hung around with players that were on that track. I went to I was like a monomaniac on a mission. So my time was consumed on what took me where I wanted to go. And I think that's missing for a lot of people.
absolutely. I mean, the hardest person to lead is you.
Hmm.
Like I said, if you won't, here's a story behind that. I hadn't even read the Admiral's book. The first discipline of the day is to make your bed, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But in this place of change, in this place of becoming the leader that I desire to be, I understood that one, I needed to get core on what was important to me, meaning my values,
Hmm.
my morals. You know, I think so often, so many men or people adopt values of other people, but
Hmm.
they're not values that fit you. They're not your core values because one, you if I said integrity was my value and you go, oh yeah, that's a good one, we try to apply integrity, but no, integrity is what's in your heart.
Hmm.
It's what lives within you. It's how you desire to move, right? So having those core values, establishing those values for your life, really led me to this place to start doing things a little different, right? And so each morning, I would wake up at 4 a.m. My wife
Hmm.
wouldn't get up till 6. She would get up, get ready to start her day, and I would go back in and make the bed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Go in. I did this for months, almost 6, 7, 8 months making the bed until finally one day I walked back in the room and guess what I saw, Curtis? The bed made.
Huh.
You know, when we think about leadership, so often we want to go and fix people and help people. But to your point, when you learn to lead yourself well, when you start doing the little things in your own life, what you and modeling them,
Hmm.
you start modeling that behavior, people gravitate to your leadership. you
Yeah.
know Five
Just
practices of
quiet. People are silently dying to be led. And if you'll just do the right thing, I call it operate with principles.
Yeah.
Principles don't change. A principle of hard work, principle do unto others that you have them do unto you.
Hmm.
And you just go through life like that, you will, Jim Rohn says something, success is something you attract
Mm.
by the person that you become.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, in so many essences, it's all about who you becoming. It's not
Yeah,
about what you do.
right.
It's never about what you do. What you do is um, what is the word I'm looking for here? It's a reflection of who you are.
Yeah,
That's the best way I can simplify that.
yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah.
do is a reflection of who you are. You didn't do it because you wanted to. You did it because that's who you are.
Right.
This is who I am as a person. Think about it. Uh, The old me, I'll use me for an example. The old me, if you I remember you would step on my shoe. I was a young guy too. Don't, I'm a little older and wiser today. But I remember the old time somebody would bump into you and step into you on your shoe. What would you want to do? Your reaction was
Well,
to.
now they want to hit you. They may come back and shoot you now. I mean, it's crazy out there, but yeah.
It's crazy out there, right? But this is has how we've been programmed throughout our life, right? And we haven't always led ourselves well. As I begin to understand and develop this place called self-awareness, of who I am, what's my strength, what's my limitations, what's my blind spots. The thing was to become better. How do I become better? And so moving away from these childish behaviors,
Mhm.
not, we they call them toxic masculinity, and I call them childish behaviors. Moving away from childish behaviors and being mindful of other people. I like what you said is treating people how you want to be treated. I often encourage people to practice the platinum rule.
Mm.
This is the platinum rule. Comes from a behavior aspect, and that is treat people in the manner in which they prefer to be treated.
Mm.
So think about it, Curtis. We go to lunch and I order a meat lovers, but Curtis is a vegetarian. But I fed you a meat lovers. How would I be treating you?
Not well. I wouldn't
I
like it.
would. Would I be treating you like you would prefer to be treated, or would I be
No,
treating you how
how
I
I
prefer?
how I prefer to treat you, which
Yeah,
is going to reject
yeah.
that
And
person. Hmm.
and so for us to lead well, I think that you have the mindset to be mindful of other people.
Right.
What's their preferences? What do they like? What do they dislike? What motivates them? And you meet them, and we often hear this: meet people where they are. Well, you meet people where they are because you understand who they are.
Right.
And secondly, most importantly, let's say this: most important, you understand who you are. When
Right.
you understand who you are as a leader, as a man, individual in life, what you like, and you adopt the understanding what others like, I realize it's not about me. It's
Mhm.
always about service to you. It's
Right.
always that. And so, how do I want to serve you? I want to serve you at the capacity of your preference.
Right. And part of that is another level that I heard is understanding whose you are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Before
Yeah,
that way
yeah,
you know where you're coming from and you're solid in that. And then again, if you're following the 10 commandments, now you're a person of character and you're operating in integrity.
mm,
That's to me the start, because people don't you have any, not at people, that's too general, but there's a lot of people that are operating with no ethics, no
mm,
foundation of
mm.
right or wrong, up for down. It's like, do what feels good. You can't operate like that.
Yeah. No, I like that what you said. You got to know whose you are. God created the heaven and earth. He created everything.
You
He
create
created
man
in His image.
in his image,
Yeah, He created His
right?
image.
Everything
So
else was not created. It was just created, but he created to let us make man
yeah,
in
He
our
created
image,
us in our
so
image. So what's that image? It wasn't just to govern or have dominion over uh, the earth, but it was to one love God with all your heart, and then secondly, the very second commandment is love people. Treat what I think is love God with all your heart, and then love your neighbor as yourself. Right? Those are the first two commandments, man. And I believe when you went
and be fruitful and
and multiply
multiply,
and
right?
multiply,
That doesn't
yeah.
mean have all these kids, y'all are hearing that stuff. That means be productive, okay, and build something,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely,
gold and money is mentioned like 8 times in Genesis as a good thing, you know.
absolutely.
And
Well,
so a
money is
lot
a
of
good thing.
it's the churches miss that. Like it's all your treasures in heaven, and nobody really understands money because you can't. There's certain groups that all they have is the Old Testament. Jewish people, and they follow the rules. There's a lot of rules that tell you how to make money, and then we have both as Christians, and they don't.
Well,
Somehow we
listen,
miss all that.
money was important in biblical times. Think
Yeah,
about it. Think about the times where God, Jesus was walking around and all the people was following him, and the disciples would say, "Well, we only got uh, two dinar,"
Right.
and Jesus will say, "Well, go down to the sea, catch the fish, and take what's out, and then go purchase for the people." Money is definitely important.
Yeah.
It's a need. It's a need to a means. It supports. I think the problem is we put the wrong value on money. Let's think about it. It's no value. The $100 bill has no value sitting in your pocket.
Right.
There's no value sitting on the desk. It has value when it is in transaction.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I believe God called us to a place to make transaction into each other's lives.
Right.
How do I show up to be of value?
Because money follows value,
Yeah,
right? And so people say, "Oh, I want to make more money. I need to make more money." You don't understand. I don't make enough money. I says, "Well, that's because why don't you make enough money? Because you don't have enough skills to create value for somebody else." Because the question is, how can I serve? How can I create value for others? Because money is a result of creating value in the marketplace. So if you don't
absolutely.
make money, you don't have enough skills. So you have to go to work on yourself. Again, it goes back to leading yourself to get up and walk and get yourself in shape. Because it's hard to, you know, have the energy to be in business if you're, smoking 2 packs a day. You can't walk around the block and that kind of stuff. So I believe it starts with the just making your bed, get up, go work out. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It starts your day. Are you reading
Mm,
or listening to audiobooks while you're working out? Are you reading 10 to 15 pages a day? So if I was that's where I have people start, because you have to work on your philosophy. And so you have to put new stuff so that when you opportunity presents itself, you're thinking right, so you can take advantage of it. Otherwise,
absolutely.
than blowing it off. So
No, that's so good. I love that. It's the change mindset. You have to get to the place to convert what you think and get hold of what's true, what's meaningful. I wrote this down this morning where it says greatness requires being and doing things different.
I
you
love
know
that. Yep.
and that's what it's about. It's about being open enough to recognize, one, I do need to up these skills level.
Hmm.
If you're not where you want to be in life, you're not making the money that you want to make in life, you're not able to save like you want to save. Listen, think about it. What's holding you back? It may be the limiting belief, what you think about you, what you think you can do, and because you won't make the shift or change in life by picking up a book, listening to audio podcasts,
Right.
therefore you still stuck in this old way of living and you're complaining. And when I last looked, complaining didn't do anything but breed more complaints.
Right.
But there's a power in being able to shift your mindset, and shift what you say about you. If
Right.
you keep telling yourself you can't save money, well, guess what? You will never do. You will
Save
never
money.
save. But if I say, you know what, I'm going to save $100 a month, before long, before you realize it, you done save $1,000 in 10 months.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why? Because one, you spoke it into existing, but more so when you begin to speak, you begin to change how you think.
Yes.
You
Life and
change how
death
you
is in
think.
the power of the tongue. I mean, so
Mm,
you got to be careful what you say, who you hang around, what you listen to. I'm
absolutely.
very controlling with all that stuff, with myself, with our kids,
Mm,
and I have one daughter that's crushing it in school. Guess what? She's not on social media. She's not on Instagram, so she could care less. She got her smartphone, but she don't. So she's not distracted.
right.
So she's doing all this stuff because she's not wasting half her time on IG, and she's not concerned about comparison
Yeah. Well,
to other people.
that's a thief in itself.
Yeah,
Don't let the world steal your joy, by comparing yourself about what you see going on in that social media. That's phenomenal, though. I
yeah,
have to applaud your daughter for that, man.
yeah. Look, because it's because other traditions are totally not like that. But you have to compete, men, but don't compare, right? And it's like my kids ran track. I used to all tell them, listen, you have to run your race, right? So they
Mhm.
ran the 400. I said, listen, you got to come out on the corners. You got to run hard. You got to stretch out on the first, 100 meters. You're going to hit the curve, stretch out, lean into the curve. And then on the last 300, 200, 100 meters, you got to trust your training. Our coach used to say, trust your training. That,
Yeah.
yes, your lactic acid is building out and your body's telling you everything to stop, but you got to trust your training and finish strong. And that's, to me, that's like your career. Don't worry, because I said, look, don't worry about the stagger. Don't look around at the other people. You stay in your lane and you focus on running your race, and you end up where you end up, and just work at getting better. And
Yeah.
I, you know,
Well,
that's man. We just listen, guys. There's no notes. We're just talking, right? As we record
it,
this, I
yeah.
get hype about personal development and success stuff. So, but Dwayne, what are you working on right now that you're excited about? And then tell them how they can follow you and you know get work with you if that's a good fit.
Awesome. Yep. Man, great question. What am I working with that I'm excited about? I got to admit, man, I'm working on the book, brother.
Okay.
I'm working on the book. And here's a little backstory. Almost 2 years ago, I had this drive to write a book. I started it, but I fell off.
Mhm.
I didn't know what to say. I didn't think people really wanted to hear what I had to say. And I got this good friend. Shout my man Jonas out. He's on his he done written his second book, and he released the second book and on his way to releasing the third book. And
Nice.
so I said to Jay, I say, listen, Jay, I'm not gonna let you write that third book before I write my first.
Right.
And Jay and Jay chuckled at me just like you just did. He did that same little thing, right? And he said, "Well, bro, you better get to writing because the third one is on its way out, and
Wow.
it'll be released next year, early next year." And I was like, "Yo, you serious?" And so um I was like, wow, I need to write this book. And so I started dialing in to start writing a book. Now I told you I started this book 2 years ago. Well, I started writing again, and I started just journaling on a piece of paper.
Hmm.
I started journaling on a piece of paper, and then I was like, you know what? I got to transition this to the computer.
Hmm.
And I go into the computer to open up the computer. I had forgot that I had a sheet that I had already started writing the book. Curtis, can I tell you it was what I wrote on the notepad was identical to what was already written 2 years ago?
Hmm.
And it made me realize that, you know what? I need to write this book. And so many people, I don't want to go off, but so many people at this place, they got something they want to do and they're not doing it.
Right.
It's in your heart. It's better than your heart. It's been in your heart for years and you won't go chase after it. That's where I was, man. So I began to write the book. I'm writing the book, my man. And I'm passionate and I'm excited about that. Releasing this book. And my goal is to have it done. I may not get it released before Jonas's book come,
Right.
but my goal is
Right. So
to
run your
get the,
race.
yeah.
So
So, so here, yeah. So that's it. Next thing, what was that last
well,
question?
tell
I'm
them
sorry.
about leadership and what you're working on and how they can
Awesome.
follow you,
Awesome.
support you. How can we support you at Practical Wealth, that type of stuff.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So yeah, I host a phenomenal podcast called the Leadership Podcast. It's all about empowering men, man. We bring some phenomenal guests on to really share. And I'm looking for, I'm always bringing leaders that walk the walk and talk the talk, who
Hmm.
lead by example, man. If this is what you do, I'm looking for it to show up in your character. And
Hmm.
so we bring phenomenal leaders on, such as Curtis, to come and share and make the impact in the lives of people, man. Well, I'm just I look my aim is to get people unstuck and find their God-given purpose for life so they can
Hmm.
thrive and live life successfully.
Hmm.
Um also let's see the Men of Vision Colorado. We have a phenomenal 501c3 where we work with formerly incarcerated men as
Hmm.
well as those in recovery and just in personal development, man. And so those are just some little things that we do. Coming up next year, early mid-April is the Next Level Success Summit. Because I'm passionate about inspiring people and speaking and motivating and speaking into the lives of people, we host a phenomenal event called the Next Level event where we bring in speakers who share their stories, but not only share their stories, they give you simple principles that you can apply in life to help you make the needed adjustments to taking your life to the next level, man. So that's what we do. You can follow me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn under Dwayne Roberts. And oh, you can always go to the webpage, man, DwayneHRoberts.com. Real
Okay.
simple.
Mhm.
And if you want to connect, definitely send an email to booking, BOOKING at DwayneRoberts.com. Love to hear from you. Let me know how I can further support your mission and growth.
Right. Yeah, he's a great person. So if you're speaking on leadership, and you got a conference, those are the type of things you do. You want to go in, you can do a keynote or even a workshop, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. We do. Yeah, we host phenomenal workshops too. Leadership development workshops, personal development workshops for your leaders.
Mhm.
Help them unpack some of their communication skills, be
Mhm.
more effective, help reduce conflict management, and in many cases help organizations put their leaders in a position to win.
Okay.
I think sometimes leaders are working in positions that are not so much in their skill set, and putting a leader in a position where he can lead himself and his team effectively,
Mhm.
and knowing what that looks like is a great asset for any organization.
That is awesome. All right, so we're gonna put all that in the show notes, and so this is we. So I'll probably talk. I definitely will talk before then, but definitely gotta let us know when the book comes out. We'll come back on. We'll talk about the book. See if we can tell you some books. But this has been fun. Like I love talking about this kind of stuff. So hopefully, guys, I would go back and listen to this because he said a lot of gems on here. And one of the things I would also recommend, I may come out, I may do another. I'm saying is get a practical wealth journal, but you should journal some of this stuff, and you need to think about it. You need to write
Mhm.
out what you want. That will give them like a call to action of what you would have them do as we leave this call, so they can make this. I don't want this just to be entertainment.
Awesome. Yeah, a call to action. Here's the call to action. I shared the story about writing a book, and what I realized for myself, I had to ask myself, why do I want to write the book?
Mm-hmm.
The call to get clear on the why. Get clear on why you want to accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish,
Mm-hmm.
and then ask yourself, who do I need to become
Mm,
to, or what do I need to do to make this happen? I realized for myself for to write the book that I needed to start journaling to Curtis's point. And so each morning I would wake up and take 10, 15 minutes to journal. So journal your thoughts, journal your ideas, and then ask yourself, who do I need to become? Who do I need to become to get the results that I want out of life? And I realized for myself, if I was going to write this book, Curtis, that I had to become the author.
mm, mm-hmm.
I have to become an author.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an interesting thing. The word believe, dead smack in the word believe, Believe, is the word lie.
Mm.
And many of us fall for the lie. And so we don't follow through. I need you to believe. Ready? I need you to become.
Become. Yep.
Become. Who do you need to become to get the results that you want to get? And then finally, I need you to ask yourself, now, how do I live it and live it? Live being what you want to do in life. That change you want to be, live it out.
Right. I love that. We always say be, then do, then have. So, but you have to be. 'Cause everybody just wants to have, right? You got to
Absolutely.
be first,
Yeah.
right? Then you do, which is the work, taking action, and then you get to have what you want. But you can't skip the becoming part.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let that be the last word. My
Absolutely.
brother, great job. That was
Thank you, sir.
awesome. Thanks for sharing your gems of wisdom with our listeners. And guys, I want you to go out there and find something that you want and just start moving in a direction of becoming. Thanks for listening to the Practical Wealth Show. Dwayne, thanks again.
Thank you, sir. God bless.